I really must hate myself. Like, why do I do this? Saber, go watch Wolf Walkers. No, I'd rather watch Bobbleheads. See, that's where the real connoisseurs are. Gotta get me that share action if you know what I mean. I actually don't know what that means. Okay, so there's a new movie that came out on Netflix called Bobbleheads, the movie. Can you guess what it's about? And there's been some talk about this film because there's a really weird union between the folks who worked on this film. There's a relation to Food Fight, and that's because the person who did the art direction for Food Fight also did the art direction for Bobbleheads. But then the director of this film, Kirk Wise, he was also the director for Beauty and the Beast, Atlantis, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. He was involved in this film, which is kind of weird. It's like, wait, hold on. You were involved in some amazing films from the 90s with Disney. Like, you directed one of the only animated films to ever be selected for Best Picture at the Oscars. And now you're directing Bobbleheads the movie? Bro, what happened? Also, the person who wrote this movie, Tab Murphy, was also the writer for Atlantis, Hunchback, worked on Tarzan, Brother Bear. The person who did the screenplay was also involved in Disney films. It's just weird to see this top talent for directing, for writing, that they decided to team up with the person who did the art direction for Food Fight. That wasn't a good idea. Now, I'll be fair here. The guy who did the art direction, Gary Clare, his stuff looks much better in Bobbleheads than it does in Food Fight. You gotta give credit where credit is due. That being said, it's not amazing. So, what's the movie about? Well, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with Bobbleheads. I'd imagine most of you are, but it's based on that toy. It was popular in like the 50s, 60s, 70s, a big head of a character with a spring on a body and it wiggles around. Famous celebrities, athletes, animals, you name it. Bobbleheads were the Funko Pop before there were Funko Pops. Which makes me wonder if this movie was made to capitalize on that market. I mean, the answer is obviously yes. You don't make a bobblehead movie without the intention of pushing product. Like, come on. Lego Movie pulled it off because it was more than just an advertisement. The folks who made that film knew what they could do with Lego, have an amazing story and animation and real heart to it. So they were able to have their cake and eat it. Here, it's like, no. There's no heart, feels empty. You just want to make a glorified commercial and that's it. So what is this movie about? It's so dumb. Well, let's just say they took a lot of inspiration from Toy Story. It's this family, 2 parents and 2 daughters. The parents are working on a roller coaster. They're workaholics. This teenage daughter is like, let's go on a vacation. I have no friends. I only have a bobblehead as a friend and that's it, which is kind of sad. And each family member has their own respective bobblehead for each person in the family. The baby has a bobblehead. The daughter, the older one, has a bobblehead. The parents have a bobblehead. And apparently these bobbleheads come from the dad's father, so the grandfather, and his bobblehead collection. But the dad's brother, who is like an antagonist in this movie, he apparently took the family's bobblehead collection and sold it off. Ooh, drama. And now the dad doesn't want to talk to the brother or his brother. And then the dad's like, okay, let's go on vacation. We meet the bobbleheads. There's Robo Girl, there's Skateboarder Girl, and then there's Cat. And I'll be real with you, I don't remember their names. They're so forgettable. These bobbleheads run around the house, big time Toy Story vibes. They have to go back to their place or whatever whenever there's humans around. You can't be seen by humans. They don't say why, you just can't. Though each character in the film, like the bobbleheads, disagree with each other on what the purpose of a bobblehead life is. What are you about? Is it serving your human? Is it finding fulfillment in other ways? I don't know, it's dumb. So the brother, the uncle, whatever, and his wife just randomly show up to the house and invade it. They just come on in and they start making themselves comfy, and they're looking for bobbleheads because they want to take this one bobblehead and sell it because apparently it's a collector's item. The brother, uncle, whatever, he's kind of a ditzy guy, not evil, just empty and like, oh, I'm here to have fun and see my family and find a bobblehead. And it's so bad. There's this scene where it goes on for 20 minutes where these bobbleheads are like hiding from the humans. It goes on forever. I had to pause the film and see when it started and measure it and be like, why is this still happening? My God. It's just hiding from humans, the movie, until they don't have to hide from the humans because plot device. We meet a baseball Funko, not Funko, what they call bobbleheads. He's like, oh, I'm here because we need guy character. And I'm pretty sure he's voiced by the guy who did Cyborg for Teen Titans. It's not that the voice talent is bad. I just think they're poorly directed and they realize themselves like, this is just a job. This isn't a character I'm like, wow, I get to be the next Disney princess or Pixar character. It's like, no, this is a check. This is a job. So the cat is discovered to be like this valuable item. Like, oh, it's worth millions because bobbleheads are worth millions apparently. And the cat's like, bye losers, I'm gonna go be in a museum now and be part of the bobblehead high council. And then the family's like, you can't leave. Not the family, but the other bobbleheads are like, you can't go. You're part of our family. Stay. You're worth something. It's weird. It's like every single bobblehead character has like self-doubt about who they are, what they're about. Like the skateboarder girl is based on an athlete who cheated, so she feels like she's also a piece of garbage. But then Cher, of all people, Cher shows up out of a drone, like a UFO. She's apparently like a big deal. And like the Wizard of Oz at the end of that, where he's like, you've had courage this entire time and you've always been brave. And Dorothy, those are some bomb ass shoes. That's what happened with Cher, going to each bobblehead telling them why they're worth something, why they're worthy of themselves and their own love and confidence. It's so dumb because she does that and then she leaves and comes back later in the outro credits for a very awkward song segment. And poor Cher. I looked it up and Cher's like, I said yes to this film because no one asked me to voice act ever. And it's like, oh, sweetie, really? Maybe there's a reason why. So yeah, this story is just overall dumb. The characters are unlikable, they're empty, they're boring. The only character who is actually any interesting at all is the brother. And that's because he's like, wants to turn over a new leaf, wants to make amends with his brother. His wife's the evil one because she's like, I'm gonna get out of the trailer and take these bobbleheads and sell them. And I don't even care if my husband dies. I'll kick his lifeless body in the back of this car. The bobbleheads themselves, though, none of them are interesting. They're all boring, especially the cat. The cat is annoying. It's like condescending as hell. There's a weird love plot between the skateboarder and the baseball player. They even play like sexy music when they kiss. That's weird. And yeah, I just did not like the story. Overall, just dumb. I feel so shoehorned and empty, and there's nothing to be said here. I'm so disappointed in the folks who did the writing and the screenplay and the directing for this film. You definitely dropped the ball here. I don't even know why you agreed to do this film, unless the money was really good. I mean, work is work, I get it. But as far as your legacy goes, that's definitely a blot on it now. The animation, again, not as bad as Food Fight by any means. Like Food Fight looks atrocious. This looks competent, not good. Very plain, basic, some weird water effects with the fish. They really wanted to drive home the point of like, look at the bobblehead physics. They are always bobbling, always. And that's distracting. I don't like that. It's like, oh my God, they just don't stop. It was frustrating to watch. I didn't care for it. I thought it was bad. Just constantly bobbling, blah, 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 all over the place. And I get that's the point of a bobblehead, but in practice with animation, nah, don't like it. Too much, too constant. And also the designs are boring to me. When I first saw this Robo Girl, I thought, oh, maybe she's like, her head was placed on the robot because she was broken and now she's trying to find her old self and she's confused. But it's like, no, she's not. She's actually just a robot girl from a comic and she's not Buzz Lightyear. Wink, wink. So overall, this film, I would not recommend it. It's very boring. It's a shameless product placement. There's nothing of interest to be said here. And it's not as bad bad as like a lot of the other films I've seen, but it's boring, just empty dumbness. I guess if you're like a parent and you're like, just put something on for the kids to watch, they might watch it. But in my opinion, there's much better stuff out there for them to enjoy themselves with. Like put on Wolfwalkers. I mentioned that. That's a good movie. Too bad it's only on Apple TV. Or I guess you can buy it too if you want. But yeah, this movie blows. It's just bobbleheads trying to be relevant and sell products and compete with Funko, and that sucks. Should I like commission a Saberspark bobblehead? Would anybody want that? Nah, screw that. We'll do a U2's instead. Stay tuned.